Let's get ready for Monday Mortgage Minute with your hosts, Tom McNamara and Bruce Woodburn.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Doing great.
All right. Happy Monday. It is April the 20th. And I want to tell you, there's a lot of things I want to talk to you about today that are very important for people that are seeking new properties. But before we get into that, the market has been improving on the bond market since March 27th. We've gained 140 points. We're only 60 points off from the best rates we had that were back around February 27th, which was like the Friday before we started dropping bombs.
So we're almost back to where we need to be.
We're going back to where we needed to be, which would put interest rates on a conventional loan at 6, maybe even 5.99. If we can get back to 5 3/4, I think that this is going to change the market. But having said that, there's a secret opportunity that I don't think a lot of people are looking at, and I want you to share that with us.
Yeah. I've been in this business for about a dozen years, and I have learned that there's a saying that everybody says is list to last, right?
Yes.
And most real estate
That's the thing for real estate agents.
Yeah. So most real estate agents ultimately want to focus on listings. Why? Because you're in control. You can manage multiple. I can manage 30 listings at the same time.
Easy.
Versus I can't do 30 buyers. That's
Easy. Yeah.
I don't know about easy, but I can do it. But managing a bunch of buyers is very difficult. It's more physical time, right? Those kind of things.
I'm in the car looking at property, negotiating deals where you're sitting back as a listing agent. You're just waiting for offers to come in and you negotiate them.
There's a lot of work. It's just different work. It's a little more mental work, a little less physical work. But here's the thing. Ultimately, I'm starting to lean more towards wanting to work with buyers. And I find that because buyers have the leverage today. Right. And so
they don't generally have or have not had in a long time.
I've not had it in a long time. Sellers are out there still. A lot of sellers are still thinking their house is worth what it was in 2021 or 2022, or they just, I want to get this much. I should be able to, and those kind of things. Whereas buyers are out there, they're like looking at the price. They're pre-approved. We'll talk about the tips that we have, right, for that. But if they're out there, they're pre-approved in today's rates and they're serious, we can not only get them potentially a deal on the house, but keep a lot of money in their pocket that normally.
So let's talk about that. There's 5 winning tips for buyers in today's real estate market.
Yep.
Number 1 tip is focus on affordability, not price. Tell us what you mean by that.
Yeah. If you're paying cash, price is the most important thing, other than you got the right house in the right location and all that kind of stuff, right? Because you're literally writing a check, right? I get that. So that's less about that. But if you're getting a mortgage and you're going back and forth with the seller over $5,000, $3,000, $6,000, again, it is important because it's real money, but it really isn't real money.
But don't lose a house you like because of $5,000.
I tell people that all the time. Once we're in negotiations, think about the number that you'd be willing to say, it's okay, I'll lose it for that. And then you just need to be right there, because if you're not, then you're going to really kick yourself if you lose it over $800 or $1,000. You're not going to be happy about it.
At the end of the day, every house that I've ever bought, I always thought, oh my God, can I do this? And it ended up being just fine. You're better off to have a little higher payment, but get the house you want.
Correct.
Than have a lower payment and you have regrets.
Now that doesn't mean I never advocate for somebody to go up to I'm qualified for X and then you go right to that. No, you don't want to be house poor. I never want somebody to be house poor. And the other thing that a lot of people don't think about, and not all mortgage lenders are good at, is helping them understand what taxes and insurance are going to do to their payments.
So right? True.
So especially here in Florida, we have the Save Our Homes thing. And I'll give you a great example of Save Our Home. I've lived in this house since 2007, almost 20 years, right? And at some point when house values were way down, I actually got the county to reassess my house, right? So I pay about $3,600 a year in property taxes.
But if a new buyer bought that home,
they'd pay over $9,000 for the same house.
Yeah.
For the same house. So I'm good. $3,600 to $9,000. right?
Now, we did a lot of takes on the whole getting rid of the property taxes,
It
but
didn't happen.
now that didn't happen. It's not going to happen, but it could happen another time. And these
We'll
are
look
the
at it.
things, when you look at that, folks, and you're listening to this, those are the things that can impact whether you're going to buy or not. But the problem is that the taxes are going to go up for the landlord even sharper than they are for an owner occupied. You
Absolutely.
can at least lock it in, and they can only raise it 3% per year once you're locked in.
That's
Right.
right. That's
And
right.
that's the
So-
benefit.
So my key there on focus on monthly affordability is look at the payment for the mortgage, make sure it's affordable and that you're getting the house that you want. The actual sticker price is secondary to that.
I agree. I
You know,
agree with that.
So don't lose a house over 30
Don't
bucks a
step
month.
over $1 to pick up a penny.
That's right. That's right. So
And
number
number
two,
two,
yeah. So leverage, right, on seller concessions. And this is one of the reasons that I enjoy being a buyer's agent today more than I used to. And that's because we have leverage over the sellers, right?
and you're negotiating.
Even the most staunch sellers, and I'm not giving anybody anything. I'm not even paying their agent. They pay the agent. They give concessions because if they don't sell their freaking house,
Exactly.
that's all there is to it. And it just takes a little while for them to realize it. So the advantage for the buyer on that, right, is you want to keep your money in your pocket as much as possible.
So why not just reduce the price instead of asking for closing costs? Tell us a little
Absolutely.
bit.
Hey, why not do both, right? But prioritize a little bit on the concessions unless you don't need cash. Hey, if you're walking into this thing, you're putting 50% down and cash isn't a big deal. Okay, focus on price. That's cool.
Right.
Most people are buying a home. They're not putting even 20% down. They're putting 3, 5, or 10% down, right?
Yeah.
Closing costs are expensive.
Yes, they
They're
are.
a shock. Most people, oh, what's it going to be? 3 or 4 grand? No, it's going to be like 9 to 15 grand.
Yep.
And
They're
what if
very
you-
shocked by it.
Yeah. What if you're not the right picture? What if that didn't come out of your pocket and it didn't really impact your?
When you think
the
about
price
that,
of
let's just say $15,000 on a $400,000 purchase.
Mhm.
If you were to reduce the house by 15 grand, you're only going to save out of pocket about $500. That's the maximum amount you're going to save is about $500 if you're putting 3 to 5% down. 15 grand less money out of your pocket makes a big deal. Now,
Yeah.
every $10,000 that you reduce the loan amount, not the price, the loan amount is about $62.
Absolutely. That's right. And again, that's money. That's real money. And it's definitely part of your equation. But to me, if I can keep $15,000 in my pocket or $10,000 in my pocket and pay $62 a month, that's not a big deal.
Yeah. But
I'm
just
not
putting in perspective, FHA buyers can get a seller to pay up to 6%,
Mhm.
VA up to 6%, USDA up to 6%, conventional with less than 10% down, 3%,
Mhm.
10% down or more, 6%,
Mhm.
investors, 2%. That's it. No
Oh,
matter
wait,
which
you missed
percent.
one. You missed my favorite one that I've never been able to do.
What's that?
Conventional 20%. You can get them to do 9%.
Can do 9, but nobody asked for 9. If you're putting 20% down, you're probably going to look for a reduction of price.
I'm joking, but
Carry through though. But here's why we're doing a lot of the DSCRs and bank statement programs for investors, because you can still get 6% toward closing costs, where conventional you can only get 2.
that's right. That's right. Yep.
Number 3.
Yeah, I get approached by people all the time. I hear foreclosures are up. I want to buy a foreclosure. I want to buy a short sale. I'm going to get a deal. I want to buy a fixer upper. And hey, if you can do that, right? If you can put that together, that's great. It's not for the average person. Right?
Not only that, it's always more than they thought it was going to be.
Always more.
I will take a house that a seller's already fixed up over one I got to do myself any day of the week, unless I'm getting it for 50 cents on the dollar. There's
Absolutely.
no way, because if you think it's going to cost you 20 grand to fix it, it's going to be 40.
It's going to be 40. Yeah. Double whatever you think it's going to be for sure. Even if you're handy. And the thing is that a lot of people don't know about this. They're like, oh, I'm just going to fix her upper and fix it up over time. Okay. It has to qualify for the mortgage that you're going to get, right? Which means it has to be able to get insurance, which means, and I think we're going to talk about this, the 4 critical things that you need to worry about.
We'll get into that. Yeah.
So if those things don't pass, you don't get insurance. You don't get insurance, you can't get a loan. So how are you going to buy it and fix it up over time if you can't even get the loan in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Now, you make great loan products for buying a fixer-upper, right?
Yeah, there's renovation loans available for that. But what the message here is that you're not really getting a better deal generally. Generally, there's never an always in our business. You're not getting a better deal. Like the amount of foreclosures that are on the market, even in the Central Florida market, there's probably 5 right now. That's about all you're going to get.
You know what's funny is you see these headlines. The headlines read great, like massive foreclosure increase. The flood like 50%. Yeah, and it's not even back to the normal of 2015, 16.
It's a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's up a lot of percent.
It's a lure. Same with short sales.
Yep.
Like short sales, you don't know, you have no control over it until the bank either agrees or disagrees, but there's not that many on the market. All right. Number 4.
This is my favorite one. This should have been number 1 because, and this is something you do for me and my buyers all the time, right? Getting fully underwritten pre-approval. Now, a lot of people don't understand that. Our citizens, our buyers, but believe it or not, a lot of agents don't know about this. I educate agents all the time. This is not just a pre-approval. I didn't just go call the loan officer and say, give me a pre-approval, and they did it, right? That's because you can do that. There are guys out there that'll
hurt me.
You just already did the inspection. You've already pulled their credit. You've checked their income. You've validated assets, right? The only thing you haven't done is looked at the asset that they're going to purchase and dig into that because they didn't pick it yet, right? So the odds of something popping up that was undiscovered are virtually 0.
But here's what it does, and here's why it's one of the 5 major reasons. It positions the buyer more like a cash buyer. Because if the buyer can guarantee I'm going to close, as long as your house appraises, it passes home inspection, and I can go clear title, I'm done deal. I'll close these in 15 days all day long. 15 days. Because
that's something I have to say to agents all the time. So how many pre-approvals have you seen go sideways?
A lot.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen with this. Right? It does not happen.
It's one of my favorite, and you have a guarantee on this when you do it, right?
So what I do is I'll guarantee the seller that if we do not close on the closing date or before, if they wish, that I will pay them up to $500 per day for every day that closing's missed. Now, listen, that doesn't happen very often. It's happened to me once in my career, but that's why I put these safeguards in it because, Tom, you and I want our buyer to win. We want them to get the offer. And if they keep missing and they're getting rejected, that starts to really wear on people. So we want them to win.
Yeah, they do. They get people. I've worked with people that got discouraged. It was like, oh man, I've put in a bunch of offers, and they start questioning, do you even know what you're doing? You've heard that before.
Number 5 reason.
All right. So this is the big thing. And this is when I'm looking at a house. So when I go into a house with a buyer, they're looking around, they're deciding if they like the floor plan, the layout, the kitchen, the colors of the paint, where the pool is, blah, 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 blah. I'm literally looking at I'm opening up the electrical panel. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the plumbing. I'm looking under the sink to see what kind of plumbing they have. I'm looking at I'm going to take a picture of the serial number plate on the HVAC, both inside and outside, so I can see what dates those things were. Not that I'm an inspector and not that I can qualify.
You're saying the big things are the more important things. The color of the kids' room doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It
does, but it doesn't. It's like I'm going to look at the things that are going to kill a deal, right?
Yeah.
So you can want a house that has crappy colors in the kids' bedrooms. You can want a house that has bad flooring. It's no problem. You can't want and buy a house that has a bad roof without getting it fixed or addressed.
No. Or plumbing, because you might not get insurance, or electrical, because it's got aluminum wires or something. Yep. You've got to check those things, and a new roof. Okay.
Now we do that. Obviously, we do that during the inspection period, but I do it beforehand because if I look around and I see a house and it's priced at retail, full like where it should be price wise, and then I look and say, okay, it's got an 18-year-old roof. The water heater's from 1976. The air conditioner was last replaced in 1994. This thing's not passing. It's not going to happen. I don't care if it all works. It's just not going to pass.
Yeah.
So we're going to have problems. You're going to either have to pay 10 grand for insurance instead of 3, or you're going to have to go get some strange loan, right, to be able to buy it, right, because it's got all these problems.
So here's putting this all in perspective. Buyers, you actually have a huge opportunity right now.
Huge.
You have a major opportunity. So focus on affordability. Don't focus on the price of the house. Leverage your concessions.
Yep.
Turnkey is better than fixer upper. Get your loan fully approved. I've got fast track loan approval. I guarantee you closing. And then prioritize the big four: the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, the HVAC, things that would be major fix up. You can,
And by the way, we'll get sellers to fix those items.
we can,
We will,
yeah.
because they're not going to sell otherwise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So listen, those are your tips, and this is why you should be buying in this market. If you wait for interest rates to drop too much lower, we are going to shift back into a seller's market again.
For sure.
And you won't have these opportunities. Next week, I want to talk about a down payment assistance program that gives you solar panels. If you have listened to Tom and I over the years, we're not big on solar panels. We're not big on solar panels. So we're going to go through this down payment assistance solar panel program that we've got, and we're going to pick it apart, and we're going to find the reasons to do it or the reasons not to do it. Stay tuned. Join the Monday Mortgage Market on Monday next week, and we're going to drill down on this. Have a great weekend.
You as well, Bruce.